All right, so get ready because today we're going deep, like way deep, into the world of Austrian innovation.
Austrian innovation.
You probably think, like most people, I guess, Mozart, mountains, maybe like those delicious pastries.
Yeah, those are givens.
Austria's got all that, but trust me, there's so much more
So much more to this nation.
than meets the eye.
Absolutely.
It's crazy how much impact this little nation has had on the world.
Yeah.
So get ready. Every time you think of like a game-changing invention or like a truly revolutionary idea,
Yeah.
there's a good chance Austria had a hand in it.
More than you would think.
Yeah, we're going to uncover all those hidden connections today.
That's right.
I guarantee you'll be surprised.
Definitely a few. Wait, Austria did that moments?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Ready to jump in?
Absolutely. Let's start with science and medicine.
Okay.
Because Austria has had a massive impact on how we view like the human mind.
Huge.
And to do that, we have to start with,
The OG.
the OG mind explorer himself, Sigmund Freud.
Freud, yeah. Everybody knows the name,
Everybody knows Freud.
but his ideas are often so misunderstood.
Totally.
He wasn't just about therapy.
Right.
He really gave us a whole new framework to understand human behavior.
Like a whole new way of thinking about it.
Exactly, introducing these revolutionary concepts like the unconscious, id, ego, and superego.
Right.
It's like he gave us a map
Yeah.
to the hidden workings of our minds.
Like imagine you're walking down the street.
Okay.
You see like a delicious pastry
Pastry.
in a shop window.
I see it.
Part of you, we'll call that the id,
Okay.
screaming,
Hit it.
eat it now.
Now.
But then another part of you, that superego,
Right.
chimes in and says,
all the reasons you shouldn't.
shouldn't eat it. Yeah.
Like maybe you're trying to eat healthy.
Yeah, exactly. You're on a diet
Exactly.
or whatever. And then there's the ego
Yeah.
stuck in the middle,
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to
Well.
make everybody happy.
Yeah. Between these two warring factions.
Exactly.
Great.
That's Freud. That's Freud in action.
In action.
And it's amazing, like some of his specific theories have been debated over the years,
Oh, yeah.
but his fundamental contribution, I mean, that's huge.
Fundamental, right?
This idea that our thoughts, the things we do,
Yeah.
are influenced by forces we're not even aware of.
Totally.
Like we don't even know they're there.
Yeah, it's like he pulled back the curtain on the human psyche.
And said, hey,
There's a lot more going on down there
there's more going on than you think.
than you realize.
And that impacted way more than just therapy.
Oh, absolutely.
It influenced everything.
Everything.
Art, literature,
How we understand relationships,
relationships, how we raise kids,
how we raise children.
how we view ourselves.
Right.
So he had to give us a whole new vocabulary
Vocabulary, yeah.
to even talk about the human experience.
He sparked conversations and debates that are still happening today.
I mean, that's the sign of a truly influential thinker.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But Austria's impact on medicine
yeah.
goes way beyond psychoanalysis.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, we're talking about stuff that has literally saved millions of lives.
A million and millions.
Discoveries.
Huge.
One of the biggest game changers.
Has to be blood groups.
Blood groups.
Karl Landsteiner.
Carl Landsteiner. Yeah, I mean, think about it. Before Landsteiner,
Your Landsteiner, yeah.
blood transfusions were like a shot in the dark.
Total shot in the dark.
They didn't know why some worked.
Why some work.
Some were fatal.
Right.
It was Landsteiner who
Landsteiner,
cracked the code,
he cracked the code.
figured out A, B, O blood groups.
Exactly.
And that just, I mean, it made safe blood transfusions
It was
possible.
huge for surgery.
Surgery, emergency medicine.
All kinds of medical procedures.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to overstate the impact of that discovery.
It really is.
And he didn't stop there.
No, he did.
He also was like key in identifying the Rh factor,
The RH factor.
another crucial
Yeah.
part of the blood typing puzzle.
Yeah, this guy was like a blood detective.
Blood detective, figuring out
The hidden language of our veins.
hidden language of our veins. I like that.
Yeah.
So we've gone from the depths of the human psyche
Johnsis.
to the secrets of our blood.
Secrets of our blood.
Now let's jump into something that's a little more abstract,
Okay.
but equally mind-blowing.
Quantum physics.
Quantum physics. Oh,
Another area where Austria, I mean,
they really punch above their weight.
they punched above their weight.
Yeah.
Some of the most brilliant minds.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about names like Erwin Schrödinger,
Schrödinger,
Wolfgang Pauli,
Wolfgang Pauli.
two physicists that, I mean, I still
Still trying to wrap our heads
I
around
would head around the concepts they were working with.
Schrödinger,
Yeah.
best known for that famous thought experiment.
The thought experiment.
with a cat in a box.
Yeah.
Illustrating
Crazy concept.
quantum superposition.
Quantum superposition. I mean, it's this idea that a particle can exist in multiple states at once.
At the same time.
Until it's observed.
Yeah.
Which really, I mean, it challenges our everyday understanding of how the world works.
Yeah, it's basically like saying the cat is both alive.
Both alive.
And dead.
And dead.
Until you open the box.
It really makes you question reality.
It does. It makes you wonder.
Makes you wonder.
And then Wolfgang Pauli.
Wolfgang Pauli.
With his exclusion principle.
Big exclusion principle.
I mean, he figured out
why atoms don't collapse in on themselves.
why atoms don't just implode.
Figured out the traffic rules for electrons within an atom.
Traffic rules, yeah.
Very important.
Kind of a big deal if you like having a stable universe.
Right.
So you've got Schrödinger messing with our mind.
Schrödinger, yeah.
With these cat paradoxes.
Cat paradox.
And Pauli laying down the law for subatomic particles.
Laying down the law.
It's incredible, these Austrian physicists tackling these fundamental questions.
Fundamental questions.
About the nature of reality.
That's right.
And their work had a huge impact.
Huge.
I mean, it shaped our understanding of everything.
Of everything.
From atoms to the origins of the universe.
Yeah, pretty big.
But can't forget about Lise Meitner.
Oh, Lise Meitner.
Another
pioneering
Austrian physicist.
Yeah.
Made a huge contribution.
Absolutely.
Didn't really get the recognition she deserved.
Didn't get the recognition she deserved.
At the time.
Right.
I mean, she was crucial.
Crucial.
In the discovery of nuclear fission.
Nuclear fission. The process of splitting an atom.
Splitting an atom.
To release huge amounts of energy.
Huge amounts of energy.
Right.
This discovery, I mean.
Paved the way for nuclear energy.
Nuclear energy.
But also huge implications for our understanding of the atom.
The atom itself. So she was instrumental. In this discovery that changed the course of history.
Absolutely.
Both in terms of energy production.
Energy and how we understand the universe.
Yeah, understanding the universe, yeah.
But overlooked for a Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately a common story.
It's a common story, unfortunately.
For women in science.
Throughout history.
Yeah, throughout history. But
we should
got to recognize those contributions.
Recognize and celebrate them.
Celebrate those contributions. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And speaking of discoveries that had a huge impact on society.
Yeah.
Let's talk about one that revolutionized family planning.
Family planning.
And women's control over their own bodies.
Right.
The oral contraceptive pill developed by
Karl Djerassi.
Karl Djerassi, Austrian-born.
Austrian-born.
I mean, Djerassi's work, it had this ripple effect.
A ripple effect.
I mean, it transformed careers, societal norms.
Societal norms. It gave women this unprecedented reproductive freedom.
Unprecedented freedom? I mean, come on. That's
pretty huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's one of those inventions.
Yeah. That not only changed lives, but shifted the cultural landscape.
The cultural landscape.
It's incredible.
It's a perfect example of how scientific breakthroughs can have these huge social and cultural consequences.
So from the depths of the human mind. To the building blocks of matter.
Building blocks.
And even like the power to control our own destinies.
Right.
Austria has been at the forefront of some truly remarkable scientific and medical advances.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Just the tip of the iceberg.
Ready to see how Austria's innovative spirit has shaped engineering?
Oh, I'm ready to dive into that.
Okay, let's go.
Let's see what other surprises Austria has up its sleeve.
Let's see. From the inner workings of our minds to the secrets of blood, Austria has certainly made its mark on science and medicine, but their ingenuity doesn't end there. Get ready to explore how Austria has shaped the world of engineering.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I usually picture massive bridges and skyscrapers when I think about engineering, but I have a feeling Austria's contributions are a bit more, well, nuanced.
You're right. It's not always about the biggest, most obvious feats of engineering. Sometimes it's about the smaller but equally important innovations that revolutionized how we live and move.
Like what? What kind of things?
Well, did you know Austria played a key role in the development of the internal combustion engine?
Wait, really? Never would have guessed that. I always associate that with, I don't know, Germany or America.
Well, meet Siegfried Marcus. Back in the mid-1800s, he designed and built one of the very first working prototypes of the internal combustion engine. Imagine a world without cars, buses, airplanes.
Yeah.
That's the world Marcus was working to change.
That's incredible. I mean, we take it for granted today, but it completely revolutionized transportation and I guess by extension, the entire world.
Exactly. It changed how we travel, trade goods, how we design our cities.
Wow. And speaking of revolutionizing transportation, what about harnessing the power of nature itself? I'm talking about Victor Kaplan and his invention, the Kaplan turbine.
Ah, the Kaplan turbine. It's a true marvel of engineering, designed specifically for hydroelectric power plants. What makes it so special is its efficiency, especially in rivers where the flow of water isn't constant.
Break it down for me. How does it work?
Picture a propeller underwater. Now, imagine those blades being able to adjust their angle depending on how fast the water is flowing. That's basically what the Kaplan turbine does. It captures the energy of the moving water and converts it into electricity, and its ability to adjust to different water flows makes it incredibly efficient.
So it's like a really smart water wheel, one that can optimize itself for different conditions.
Exactly. And this invention was huge for hydroelectric power, especially in places with those inconsistent water flows.
And with the need for clean and renewable energy, the Kaplan turbine seems more relevant than ever.
Absolutely. It's a perfect example of how Austrian engineering is still contributing to a more sustainable future.
Okay, so we've gone from the combustion engine to the power of the Kaplan turbine. But what about space?
Space, yes. We can't forget about Max Valier and his pioneering work in, well, early rocket propulsion.
Rocket propulsion.
Valier was fascinated by space travel, and he dedicated his life to developing rockets powered by liquid fuel.
Liquid fuel?
His work was fundamental to the development of rocket technology that led to humanity's first steps into space.
So from the first engines to the powerful roar of rockets, Austria's been there, pushing the boundaries of how we explore and move through the world.
It's quite a legacy, but we've only scratched the surface. Ready to delve into a realm where Austria's influence is even more widely known, the world of art and culture.
Oh, absolutely. That's what most people think of when they think of Austria, right? The
Yeah.
music, art, the architecture. I'm ready to be transported.
Get ready, because Austria's artistic legacy is something to behold.
From revolutionary engines to the quest for space travel, Austria's engineering feats are truly impressive. But now let's shift gears a bit and dive into a world that Austria is arguably even more famous for, art and culture. I'm ready to be swept away by the music, the visual arts, the architecture. Where do we even begin?
Well, you can't talk about Austrian culture without acknowledging the giants of classical music: Mozart, Schubert, Strauss.
Oh, yeah.
These names are practically synonymous with musical brilliance, and their influence is still felt centuries later.
I mean, who hasn't hummed along to Mozart or been moved by the Strauss waltz? It's like their music transcends time and language. What was it about these Austrian composers that made them so impactful?
Each one of them, they really pushed the boundaries of their genres. Mozart's operas, they were just groundbreaking in terms of their storytelling and their emotional depth.
Yeah.
Schubert's Lieder, these art songs combining poetry and music,
Yeah.
they captured such a range of human emotion. And Strauss, well, he basically invented the waltz as we know it. This swirling romantic music that's still so popular today at weddings, grand balls, you name it.
It really is incredible how their music can evoke such strong emotions even centuries later. But Austria's artistic legacy is so much more than music, right? What about the visual arts?
Absolutely. When you think about Austrian art, one name immediately comes to mind: Gustav Klimt.
Klimt. His paintings are just so distinctive. Those patterns, the gold leaf, it's almost dreamlike. What movement was he a part of?
Klimt was a leading figure in the Art Nouveau movement, all about breaking away from those traditional forms and embracing organic lines, flowing decorative elements.
And his work is just so recognizable, like the kiss.
The kiss.
Those two figures entwined in that golden embrace. It's iconic.
It really is. It's this powerful image of love and desire. Klimt's work had a huge impact on modern art. It influenced fashion, design, even how we think about beauty and sensuality.
Yeah. And let's not forget about the incredible architecture that defines so many Austrian cities. Vienna, especially, feels like a living museum of architectural styles.
Absolutely. You have the grandeur of Schönbrunn Palace, the former summer residence of the Habsburg emperors,
Amazing.
sprawling gardens and opulent interiors,
Wow.
and the Vienna State Opera, a masterpiece of neo-Renaissance architecture, world-renowned for its acoustics and performances.
Walking through those spaces, you can really feel Austria's rich history and cultural heritage. But Austria's impact on the world extends even further. They've also made some surprising contributions to, well, economics. Not exactly the first thing you think of when you think about Austria.
You're right, it's not the most glamorous field. But Austria has been home to some truly groundbreaking economic thought, specifically the Austrian School of Economics.
Economics might not be as exciting as discovering a new galaxy or something, but it really does impact our daily lives. Can you give us a crash course on the Austrian school and why it matters?
Well, in the simplest terms, the Austrian school challenged traditional economic thought. They emphasized individual choices, free markets, and the limitations of government intervention in the economy. Thinkers like Karl Menger, Ludwig von Mises, and Friedrich Hayek really formed the foundation for this school of thought.
So are you saying that instead of governments controlling and planning everything, the Austrian school believes that free markets, driven by individual choices and supply and demand, are actually better?
That's the gist of it. They believe individuals, acting in their own self-interest, are the best equipped to make economic decisions, and that the price system is a powerful way to coordinate those decisions.
Fascinating. So who are some of the key figures?
Well, one of the most famous proponents of the Austrian school was Friedrich Hayek, who actually won the Nobel Prize in economics back in 1974.
Impressive. What were some of his main arguments?
Well, Hayek argued that the free market is not just efficient, it's about freedom and knowledge. He thought central planning would fail. Why? Because no single entity can possibly have all the information to make good decisions for an entire economy. He said that that information is actually dispersed amongst millions of individuals.
Okay, I think I'm getting it. So in a way, the free market is kind of like a massive information processing system.
Yeah.
Constantly gathering signals from all these individuals about what they want and need.
Exactly. And Hayek's ideas are still debated today, especially in discussions about government regulation, free trade, and economic planning.
It's amazing how those ideas, born in Austria, have had such a global impact. But wait, there's more. Austria also has a place in art, psychology, and cinema.
Oh, absolutely. We have to mention Rudolf Arnheim, a pioneer in the field of art psychology.
Art psychology, so interesting.
He studied how we see and understand art. He argued that it's not just subjective, it's also about how our minds actually process information visually.
So there's a science behind why we like certain pieces of art.
That's right. He believed that our visual perception is guided by these innate patterns, these organizational principles. And artists, well, they tap into these to create works that really resonate with us.
That makes sense. It's like there's a hidden language of visual communication that artists are fluent in. And speaking of languages, let's talk about Austrian cinema. Specifically, Fritz Lang.
Fritz Lang, yes.
His film Metropolis is considered a landmark achievement in cinema, right?
Absolutely. Lang was a master expressionist cinema. He
Yeah.
used these really striking visuals, dramatic lighting, exaggerated sets to create this world that reflects the turmoil of the characters. Metropolis is a perfect example. A silent film from 1927. A dystopian story set in a futuristic city, and it explores these big themes. Class struggle, technological advancement.
I've seen stills from Metropolis, and the imagery is so powerful, even now, almost 100 years later. What makes it so groundbreaking?
Well, for one thing, the special effects were revolutionary. Miniature models, forced perspective, stop-motion animation, it was all very innovative for the time.
Wow.
And then thematically, well, it's exploration of social inequality and the potential dangers of technology. Those themes are still relevant today.
It's amazing how art like that can transcend its time and speak to these universal human experiences. Now, before we wrap up our Austrian adventure, let's touch on two more examples of Austria's engineering prowess: the Semmering Railway and the Traufenwagen, the teardrop car.
Two incredible feats of engineering. The Semmering Railway from the 1850s was the very first mountain railway in Europe to be built with standard gauge track. Navigating those Alps was a huge accomplishment. It used viaducts, tunnels, and some pretty impressive bridges.
I can't even imagine trying to build a railway through the Alps back then. What was so important about the standard gauge track?
Before that, mountain railways often used these narrow gauge tracks, which meant that anything being transported had to be moved to different trains. It was costly and inefficient. But the Semmering Railway proved that standard gauge could be used, and it really opened up possibilities for travel and trade.
So it really did revolutionize transportation through mountainous regions. And then there's the Traufenwagen, the teardrop car. It looks like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
The Traufenwagen. Designed in the 1920s by Edmund Rumpler, who was an aircraft designer, he actually applied aerodynamic principles to the automobile.
Interesting.
And it resulted in this streamlined, teardrop-shaped car that was amazingly fuel efficient.
That is so ahead of its time. So there you have it. From psychoanalysis to nuclear fission, from the waltz to the teardrop car, Austria's legacy of innovation is vast and truly mind-blowing. Who knew such a small nation could have such a big impact?
It really is a testament to the fact that great ideas can come from anywhere. And it leaves us with a thought-provoking question to consider. Of all the Austrian innovations we've discussed, which one do you think has had the most profound impact on the world? And why?
That's a great question. We've only scratched the surface of Austria's incredible contributions, and we encourage you to delve deeper into anything that sparked your interest. Who knows what other hidden gems you might uncover? Happy exploring.